Guys, we're just taking like a little break here. I was really hoping this would all be part of the same video. I don't want to stretch this out into 3 different videos when it's all the same live video. That's what I don't like about these live Facebooks is they glitch. But I guess I went for 20 something minutes without an interruption. As soon as I got up to go get a cigarette, Facebook was like, boy, you shouldn't be having a cigarette. Sit that ass down. And then glitched. And I'll probably glitch again. We're on definitely some good live topics today. Live video with good topics, whatever you want to say. But we are on a little break because the tangents were just, I guess, I don't know if I was progressing or digressing. But we're back live. Tune in. Brian's back. Thank you, Brian. I just got to have this quick cigarette break. You know, like I said on one of my other early morning rants, you know, just talking raises your blood pressure. So maybe I need a little break. Chris Yepp is, yo, Chris. Yeppy, what up, buddy? Long time. Dealing with some topics. Check video 1. I don't know if this is still video 1 or video 2 or 3. Tank Lip, the GOAT. Thank you, Brian. No, you're the GOAT. You're all the GOATs. I love you guys. Yeppy, I'm good, buddy. It's really nice to hear from you. I'm just on a little break. I was on a early morning rant / tangent, and I'm just trying to calm myself down with a cigarette. And the videos were glitching anyway, so. Tell me what's new with you. You doing fantasy this year? Let's get up ASAP. Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely get up. What's new? Working, same old. All right. Hey, everyone's got to do them, you know. You still, what job you working at now? Got a new whip? Nice. What'd you get? Alright, we're going back inside. Manager, okay. That sounds productive. Good. Good. Alright, so we're back in the AC. It's hot out there, but sometimes you gotta take the risk when you need that cigarette. You say, fuck it, it's par for the course. And you get that cig in. 2016, nice. Good. Good. Okay, so back to my tangents, and hopefully by the end of the blogs, I'll make a good punchline. So I was at the point of talking how the officers fluster you, you know, and you get victimized twice because you're trying to report a crime that could have been committed against you or derail a potential crime, and now the officer has unfounded your statements. He's not validating you. Okay. And so now you are a victim twice of something that was committed against you. So you have the pain and suffering of an officer not validating it. So therefore the crime is not being dealt with. And then you were also hurt and will cause suffering and pain from the actual crime. And basically I've experienced that, and I believe in part due to the fact that my mental illness is discussed with the officer from the onset of the visit with the officer. Okay, based on I mean, my presumption is that he's got it in his records anyway. When they have your name and they're on the way, I believe they do a quick background check on who they're going to be meeting with, because they don't want to fall into these booby traps of some terrorist or criminal, ambushing them. So they like to know who they're dealing with. And I think they already have a bias built. So by me telling them about my mental illness from the beginning of the visit, that's actually me trying to sidestep that obstacle and let the officer know and try to trump that initial bias he's probably already formulating before he even sees me and what conditions I'm in. So, unfortunately, if they're not seeing in a background check on their way to me that I have mental illness, I may be just shooting myself in the foot. Because then as soon as I do tell them about the mental illness, which is my effort to sidestep any bias they have against me, okay, I'm now offering them maybe something they didn't have. Maybe they didn't have that information, therefore not the bias. But they formulate it rather quickly, which is the Panera story. Tank Lip versus Panera. I don't know if they knew who they were dealing with when they were meeting with Jason Lip at Panera Bread in Oviedo. But again, my strategy was to derail any bias they were going to have against me. We're still spreading the word that you're live. So I offer, within a minute, the first minute, I said, listen, whatever I'm about to tell you, I believe is really serious. That's why I called in. I wouldn't just call in for any silly thing, despite what you might think or what you might heard about me. Okay, but I have mental illness, and I don't want that for you to discriminate against me because of that information, and let that be an obstacle to you finding integrity in what I'm about to tell you. So within a minute, I'm telling him I have mental illness. And I watched this is just one story with Oviedo police where I saw that it flipped the script against me. So rather than even be able to get my story out, as soon as he had mental illness, he goes right back to his car and he's running some background check on me or something, gets right back out of his car, and then tells me he's going to go in Panera and check the surveillance, ask them if there's any video footage of what you saw. So somehow he's already discounting what I'm saying or not validating me. He wants to make sure for himself that this really even happened, that because I have mental illness, he now thought I was crazy and probably thinks I'm having a delusion and just making something up. So before me even getting into the details of my story, I called them from Panera. Panera didn't call the police on me. I called the police at Panera. Okay, and before I even get into my story, he heard mental illness and he's already getting flustered and back in his car doing whatever check on me he's doing. Then gets out and still doesn't want to hear my story. Now he's going in to ask Panera about something they don't even know about. The staff at Panera had no idea that I called in. They didn't call in on me. They know nothing of the story. But he's going to give them more clout and integrity and go in and ask them, do they have video footage of whatever I'm talking about? Okay, so what happens? The manager of Panera that doesn't really like me because he thinks I complain too much about coffee or try to get free coffees, which is bullshit. Okay, and just to touch on that real quick, and you can get most of the story on my Tank Lip versus Panera. There's a part 1 and a part 2 of the Tank Lip versus Panera bread. Okay, they're on YouTube. They've been on YouTube for a year now. They don't have a lot of views, so I'm assuming most of you tuned in don't know the story, which is why I'm rehashing these details as well. So he goes in, the manager isn't really my biggest fan, and tells the police officer says, do you know that guy out there? I'm standing outside Panera near my car, and the officer still hasn't gotten into my story, but he's now trying to confirm that I'm not having a delusion by asking the manager if there's video footage. Do you know that guy out there? So the manager says, yeah, he comes in every day. A good fucking customer that visits them every day money upon money buying coffee that I could be getting free at my own residence. But out of other conveniences, I went to Panera anyway and give them business for their first year open. Probably spending thousands of dollars just on coffee that I could have put on other things I could have bought myself. I'm paying their outrageous $2.56 a cup, where most people protest that option because it's so ridiculous, and Panera coffee doesn't even taste good. I mean, McDonald's is better than them, Dunkin' Donuts is better than them, Starbucks is better than them. It's the worst fucking coffee in town, but out of convenience, since it's literally 30 seconds from my residence, I would go there every day, several times a day. Okay, so figure 1,000 transactions with the Panera staff buying these coffees. Yeah, businesses make mistakes. Panera made mistakes where maybe 10% of the time they fucked up. Like businesses do. It's a natural thing. I'm not mad at them for that. Okay, but as a paying customer that did 1,000 transactions with them, that 90% of the time I didn't ask for money back or for them to replace the item, the coffee. Okay, yeah, maybe 10% of those 1,000 transactions I complained. So 10% out of 100% is a small percentage, but if you compare it to 1,000 transactions, yeah, maybe I did complain 20 times. So then I stick out like a sore thumb as a bad customer, even though 90% of the time I'm not complaining. I touched on all this in the Tank Lip versus Panera videos. So what happens? The officer hears that I'm like a problem. I don't know if Panera doesn't even know I called in, so they're probably like dumbfounded. Where's dumbfounded right now? Is he in California? They're fucking dumbfounded. Like, what video footage? What even happened? Yeah, so officer, why are you asking them rather than listen to my story? And now the manager is being given more integrity than me because he's a manager. So he gets the same integrity as the 60-year-old distinguished doctor or lawyer with some gray hair on his beard. And now whatever he's saying, he doesn't even know what happened or that I called in. He didn't call in on me, call the police. The fucking stupid ass police officer is giving him more integrity. So now the officer is hearing I'm a problem. I return my coffee. I mean, this is how ludicrous this is. I lost credibility based on the manager saying, yeah, he's always trying to get free coffee and free food. And then probably also said, no, I have no video footage. So now I'm a problem case, a problem customer for Panera. And now the officer might then assume this is a delusion, I'm making all this up, and never let me get into my story. And then compiles all of this bullshit with the fact that I started by telling him I have mental illness. And then I'm getting trespassed 5 minutes later. They're letting me know that I'm being trespassed. Now, eventually, 5 days later, Panera, Oviedo police and Panera lifted the trespass because I met with the manager of Oviedo and said, sir, really, what, are you so fucking blind that you would trespass one of your good customers? Not in so many words, but we sat down for a good hour and I explained to him why the trespass was bogus and actually found out it was it wasn't Panera making that decision, although they did sign on to me being trespassed. He went by the officer's suggestion. The officer said, you need to trespass him. So the manager did it. So this was all built on the fucking police officer's bias that was formulated because he has fucking no understanding of mental illness. Didn't found anything I said because I never got really into my story. By the time he got out of Panera, he was already in the process of letting me know I've been trespassed. If I didn't have any anxiety, once the other officer, so now a second officer is called onto the scene, okay, and steps up to me and puts his body cam on and alerts me that I'm being video recorded. So as I began the beginning of the video, okay, obvious how sometimes like the interruption of getting a story out, okay, causes anxiety. Being notified that I'm going to be trespassed, and now I know I'm being video recorded, and I know I never even got my story out. This is going to cause any natural person and anxiety, especially someone that's prone to the anxiety based on mental illness that I have, that I was an idiot and let the guy know. Trusting that nowadays police officers are versed in mental illness and know that just because a person has mental illness doesn't mean they're crazy. That misconception and that slaughter of the illness and the field of mental health, that the misconception that just because someone suffers with it doesn't mean they should lose their integrity or should not be validated. So I said, you know what, while I'm on cam, I said, I'm glad I'm being recorded. And at that point, I told my story as I'm being recorded on video cam. I said, you know what, good, save this video because we might be auditing it when I sue the Oviedo Police Department. I mean, at that point, I knew I was getting trespassed and I was just furious about it. Never raised my voice, though. Stayed cool, calm, and collected and got my story out and let the officers know it's a shame in today's society that I'm getting trespassed from a place I give good business to. Even explained to him the dynamic. I laid it out for him. I said, listen, I come here every day over the course of the year. There's probably been 1,000 transactions. I said, so if I complain 20 times, it seems like a lot, like I'm a problem case, but in the larger scope of the picture, okay, there were, 900 transactions where I didn't complain. Okay, putting in perspective that, there's going to be more complaints since I'm a more regular customer than the average person not getting trespassed. So this is just one example of where, mental health